Throw another log on the fire. Keep it going. We wouldn't want to lose the light. Not here in any case. You see, these woods which surround us are old. Older than cars, older than the telephone, older perhaps than the written word. This place has carried many different names, in several tongues, but in English it is known as the Whispering Woods. Shh. Listen for a moment. You might think that noise is just a nighttime breeze making its way harmlessly between branch and leaf, but some say that those are voices. Voices whispering out from the darkest recesses of time. What they say, what they demand, is only known by a few who call this forest home. If you stay long enough, you'll sense those who live here, perhaps even see them, slipping quietly between the trees. How many there are isn't known, but they have come here for an obscure reason, one which, it is reckoned, is related to the death of Mary Sloane. You see, Mary Sloane lived in this region during the 1800s. She was well respected as a school teacher within the towns and villages which dotted the land on the periphery of the Whispering Woods. But she was not known as someone who would easily give in to those around her, and if she felt it benefited her community, she would stand tall and fight the good fight. Not long before she died, at the tender age of 25 I might add, Mary Sloane aggrieved a powerful landowner by the name of William Muir. The exact nature of the argument isn't officially documented, but the locals suggest that Mary, as a teacher and educator, was horrified by William Muir's promotion and fascination with an old pagan religion, supposedly connected in some way to the ancient Druids long since extinct throughout Britain and France. Muir claimed that many of the region's problems, poverty, unemployment, violence, could all be cured by joining his cult. Out of desperation, a few did, although the exact number remained elusive. There were whispers of who had devoted themselves to him, and rumours of fire-lit ceremonies taking place in the woods at night. Mary Sloane objected to what she saw as superstition and fear being used to increase Muir's influence throughout the area. Indeed, she suspected that those involved in his sect were being given preferential treatment and even manipulating themselves into positions of power for some unknown aim. And so she took her complaints to the village and town halls targeted by William Muir's obscure religion and rallied those who opposed it. Education was a powerful weapon against the darkness, especially when wielded by someone so brave, so pure. Then one night, out of the shadows, they came for her, hooded, their faces obscured by rags. Muir's followers dragged Mary Sloane from her bed and from her home. She screamed for help. She pleaded for her neighbours to wake up, to come to her aid, but they did not. Some say it was those very neighbours who smiled at her daily, who greeted her in the street kindly, who spoke publicly about her admirable qualities, who came for her in the night at the behest of their master. A rope was tied around her neck as she was dragged into the black night of the Whispering Woods, her body scratched and bled by rocks hidden in the undergrowth. There, she was hung from an ancient tree until the life had left her body, with a Druidic symbol carved into her stomach, as a warning to all that William Muir's ancient religion should never be challenged. As word spread, there was outrage at the news of Mary Sloane's brutal murder. Those not yet swayed by Muir's evil rallied in defence. Yet they did not know who among them were members of that vengeful cult, for secrecy was their greatest weapon. It was decided then that no direct action would be taken against Muir until those closest to him could be identified, and the entire cult could be wiped out in one foul swoop. In shadowed halls and silent rooms, a secret pact was made. 12 of the bravest and purest from the towns and villages nearby were chosen to hide deep in the Whispering Woods, to be unseen and to simply wait. Cold and soaked through by rain and dew, the group began to grow restless as 3 days and nights passed hidden in the eerie recesses of woodland, which contained more than animal and leaf. In the distance, whispers meandered between the trees, voices echoing out from an evil which called this place home. Finally, on the 4th night, they saw them, slithering through the woods like a serpent, the fiery lit torches brandished by Muir's disciples, long and treacherous. The chosen 12 followed silently, waiting for their moment to snuff out this abhorrent cabal once and for all. It was then that the hooded followers of William Muir came to a clearing at the heart of the woods, and formed a large circle around a lone figure, their flames towering towards the abyssal sky. Tall and imposing, the central figure removed the rags from his face. It was Muir himself. One by one, his followers revealed their faces. Politicians, teachers, farmers, church elders. Muir had indeed assembled those who could exert influence. Then, 2 of his followers approached their master with a gift. The body of Mary Sloane, recently exhumed for some perverted ritual. Her body white, blemished only by the remnants of her soil grave. William Muir stood by her corpse and uttered a dark and forgotten language, brandishing knife with a twisted blade. He plunged it into the dead woman's stomach. A breeze blew through the trees, and the whispers bore themselves upon it, demanding, chanting, ordering in ravenous chorus. This perversion could not be tolerated, and as the whispers grew in strength, the brave chosen 12 struck with all their might. With dagger and sword, they cut through the circle and headed straight for Muir. He fought 3 men at once, wounding 2 of them, before finally being run through with a serrated knife. At the sight of their master's death, the followers ran towards his attackers, though not to protect William Muir's now crumpled body, but instead to steal the lifeless corpse of Mary Sloane. The whispers reached a crescendo, taunting, seething at those who had stopped the ceremony. It was clear that poor Mary's body was needed for some despicable ritual, her innocence, her purity harnessed, for a deed more important than even the life of their leader. Fighting against larger numbers than they had anticipated, what was left of the chosen 12 risked life and limb to rescue the body from the cult's sordid grasp, as Muir's followers fought back with venom and curved, twisted daggers to drag Mary's corpse into the woods. One more push was made, one more brave charge, as the remaining chosen broke through the disciples' ranks. In the confusion and violence of the battle, one of the men grabbed Mary Sloane's corpse, threw her onto his shoulders, and ran as fast as he could away from the bloodied clearing. Darker and deeper he delved into the trees, until the faint cries diminished into nothingness. Few on either side made it out of the Whispering Woods that night, and for most, the idea of William Muir's twisted cult died with him. But there are stories which prevail, which hint at the survival of that murderous religion. Mary Sloane's body was never found. It was believed that she was buried somewhere within these very woods, to protect her remains from ever being exhumed again and used by Muir's followers. And yet, some remain, visiting these woods, living in them, looking for the rotting corpse of Mary Sloane to complete their abhorrent ritual. And what of the Whispering Woods themselves? These very trees we now sit amongst. I've heard them, those voices damned to be here, rising out from the earth, cursed and unholy. It is said that their whispers remain indecipherable, and yet I have walked through these woods countless times before, and on more than one occasion, those whispers have resembled 7 distinct words. Words which to this day send shivers down my spine. Bring us Mary Sloane and release us. You see, that brave woman who stood up against the encroaching darkness, she was promised to them, and should her body ever be found, I fear whatever evil lurks in these woods will come forth and walk amongst us once more.